when I'm at the pearly gates. This'll be on my videotape, my videotape.
Elie Wiesel, thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me. It is such an honor to be talking to a worldwide icon such as yourself. Well, it is an honor to be talking to a man as handsome as yourself. Okay, let's get started. Childhood is a recurring theme in your works. Could you tell us about yours?
I spent most of my time talking to God more than to people. He was my partner, my friend, my teacher, my king, my sovereign, and I was so crazily religious that nothing else mattered.
It's hard to imagine what you went through in the concentration camps as an adolescent. How did that affect and change what you did with your life?
Of course it had an overwhelming effect. Imagine after the war, I was 15 when I entered the camp, I was 16 when I left it. And all of a sudden you become an orphan. And you have no one. I had two little sisters I knew, but with my mother the first night. But they were swept away by fire. My older sisters I discovered by accident after the war. In Paris I was in an orphanage. But to be an orphan, you can become an orphan at 50. You are still an orphan. And very often I think of my father and my mother. At any important moment in my life they are there thinking, what an injustice.
After the war, you didn't speak. You weren't a witness for 10 years.
You can be a silent witness, which means silence itself can become a way of communication. There is so much in silence. There is an archaeology of silence. There is a geography of silence. There is a theology of silence. There is a history of silence. That means silence is universe. And you can work within it and within its own parameter and its own context and make that silence into a testimony. Job was silent after he lost his children and everything, his fortune and his health. Job, for 7 days and 7 nights, he was silent. And his 3 friends who came to visit him were also silent. That must have been a powerful silence, a poignant silence. Right? See, silence itself can be testimony. And I was waiting for 10 years really. But it wasn't the intention. My intention simply was to be sure that the words I would use are the proper words. I was afraid of language.
Is it possible for you to say what advice you might offer to young people who are just now starting out on whatever course their life might follow?
Sensitivity. Be sensitive. In every way possible. About everything in life, be sensitive. Insensitivity brings indifference. And nothing is worse than indifference. Indifference makes the person dead before the person dies. Indifference means that there is a kind of apathy that sets in and you no longer appreciate beauty, friendship, goodness, or anything.
You've seen and experienced so many horrible things in your lifetime. How can someone live a good life after seeing such tragedy and sadness and suffering?
In spite of what I have seen in my life, observed and endured, I agree with Albert Camus. I always love to read and teach. At the end of his novel The Plague, which is a desperate and despairing novel, he says, more or less, he said, there is more to celebrate than to denigrate in man.
Thank you, Mr. Wiesel. Thank you.
when I